Nice of you to drop in.
Hello people, I'm the Comic Book Gamer. Today I was thinking about how Marvel has not made a good animated movie in a while, because I watched one of those new anime movies on Netflix from Marvel, which was like Captain America and Iron Man, I think is what it was called. It was something like that. It was them teaming up, and it was just like all CGI, and it was terrible. I mean, just terrible. It was painful to watch. I didn't even make it all the way through. It was so bad. And I'm really sad about that, because they used to make good animated movies like the Hulk vs. Wolverine and Thor vs. Wolverine. Those were really good. We got a violent Wolverine, unlike the movies, and it was so cool to see like a comic book Wolverine right there fighting Hulk, and like nothing held back blood, and Deadpool was awesome. He was hilarious. Everything was awesome. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the fact that I wanted more. They were each like only 30 minutes apiece, and yeah, they were really good, but now we're probably not going to get anything like that because A, Disney owns Marvel, so they don't want to do anything violent, most likely. That's Disney's not all about that. And B, Disney wants to connect every single thing ever to the MCU, which I hate. They want to make every single thing they can just like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it sucks. So we probably won't be getting a more violent animated movie, and if we do get good animated movies, they'll be like very close to the MCU, which I don't want. MCU is not bad, but I like having multiple versions of things. That's what makes it cool. But instead, everything's like trying to be the same at Marvel, and I don't like that. But in a perfect world, here are the movies I would like to see be animated. Well, comics I'd like to see be animated. Now, this list is not in any particular order. It's just 5 comics that I would love to see adapted in animation. So starting off, I have World War Hulk. World War Hulk is awesome. It's just Hulk going on a complete rampage. What happened was a bunch of Marvel members, the big powerful ones. I don't know if they were the Illuminati yet or not. Anyways, they were like, hey, you know what? We should send Hulk into space because stuff happened and he's dangerous. That's the gist of it. They send him to space, and he goes and he actually finds out he likes space. He lands on a planet. He gets himself a queen. He even gets her pregnant, and then a bomb explodes. That bomb happened to be the ship that he was sent there on, and so he hates all those people that sent him there, which was like Tony Stark, Mr. Fantastic, Black Bolt, and I think a couple others. And so he comes back and he goes for revenge, and he just tears everyone up, even people that weren't involved, like Xavier. He goes to the Xavier mansion and he just tears the X-Men up. Granted, that is not in the main book, that's in the side book of World War Hulk X-Men. It was awesome. He goes there, he beats the crap out of the X-Men, and he talks to Xavier, and he's like, Xavier, if you were part of that group, and they had actually they did ask Xavier, but he was kind of like no comment. He's not going to be a part of it, and he's like, if they made you, what would your decision be? And then he just beats the crap out of everyone, and it's really intense, and it's awesome. But anyways, he just goes through the book, picking people off one at a time. Like, first person he takes out is Black Bolt, and Black Bolt is one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe, and he just beats the crap out of him, and then he does the same to everyone else. And then my only real big gripe with the book was the fact that the Battle of the Century was very anticlimactic. It was like, oh cool, guy with the power of like 1,000,000 exploding suns, and then he like literally just explodes a lot, and that's it, and then he just likes being punched by Hulk. That was my only gripe. The rest of the book was awesome. The ending was just very anticlimactic, but it would still be awesome to see. And the great part is, you don't even have to explain the beginning of Planet Hulk, because they already made a Planet Hulk animated movie, and everyone's just waiting for a World War Hulk movie. Number 4 is Ultimate Captain America. Now, Ultimate Captain America was a mini-series written by Jason Aaron, and the art is done by Ron Garney, and these guys make a great team, and it was just awesome. It was Captain America going around and fighting Nuke. Nuke is my favorite Captain America villain. He's sort of like Captain America's Bane, and he's so cool. He was made to be the Captain America of Vietnam, but things didn't turn out well. He got a American flag tattooed on his face, and now he's crazy. And so in the beginning, you don't even know it's Nuke. It's just some masked man. He's just beating the living crap out of Captain America. It's like, out of nowhere, this guy is beating up Captain America. You don't just do that. There's not just like no random Joe can come out and just beat up Captain America. No, this guy is insane, and they let you know that in the book. And it just goes through some trials and stuff. Like, he ends up capturing Captain America. Captain America ends up escaping, beating him up, and then at the end, how it ends is amazing, and it's so Captain America. It's Captain America by his bedside and reading the Bible to him, which I just thought was great. Because I think earlier what happened was he was like Captain America was praying or something like that, and Nuke was saying how like you need to pray or something, and then at the end he just reads the Bible to him. I was like, that's Captain America. It was just awesome, and it was a great book. And Nuke is my favorite Captain America villain. Seeing those two fight in animation would be so awesome. I just love to see that. Number 3 is Spider-Man Kraven's Last Hunt. Now, this book did not feature a whole lot of Spider-Man, so some people may feel a little duped when they would go to see this movie, but it's all about Kraven, and it's amazing. It's so good. It's sort of like Spider-Man's Nightfall. I know I'm comparing Marvel villains to Bane a lot now, but it is like Spider-Man's Nightfall. It's amazing. It's my favorite Spider-Man book. And what happens is Kraven is the best hunter, and he's tired of being beaten by this little high school Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man's like out of high school now. And anyways, he goes and he's like, I'm going to become the Spider. So he literally becomes the Spider. He goes, he sort of ish kills Peter Parker. He doesn't. They make you think he killed Peter Parker, when in actuality he just knocked him out and buried him alive for like 2 weeks. And he takes his suit and he becomes Spider-Man while in Peter Parker's absence. And it's so cool. He goes insane. Like, there's this one scene where he's like eating spiders, and he ends up fighting, I don't remember the name of that sewer rat guy, but he fights him, and it's really brutal. And then at the end, Kraven commits suicide because he did his mission. He caught the best thing he could ever catch. He did, you know, the ultimate hunt. That's why it's called Kraven's Last Hunt. And it's amazing. It's so good. You guys should really read it. I highly recommend that. I may do a review for it in the future. It's one of my favorites. Like I said, it's my favorite Spider-Man book, and it definitely deserves its own animated movie. It'd be so cool to watch. Number 2 is Night of the Living Deadpool, which happens to be my favorite Deadpool book of all time. It's so good, and it's Deadpool in his element. What I mean by that is, in my opinion, Deadpool is at his best when he is surrounded by this dark and gritty world. It's so much fun to see Deadpool, this really silly character, surrounded by this super dark and grittiness of the world, like Dark Knight style. And the contrast between those two makes it a really fun read, and it would be so much fun to watch, because Night of the Living Deadpool is just a parody of all things zombies, and even a lot of like just other horror stuff. Like, for instance, they parody The Walking Dead by having him go to all the different locations they went to, like the farm and the prison and stuff like that, and he's like, nah, pass. And there's some other stuff they parody from The Walking Dead. They also parody like Army of Darkness, and that was really cool. Like, he goes to that cabin, passes by. There's just a lot of really cool references, and the book is hilarious. It's so good. And it would be a really fun visual watch, because the whole world is black and white like the Walking Dead comics, and Deadpool is the only thing in color. So I think that'd be really cool to watch, and just seeing Deadpool hack and slash these things. Also, just getting back Nolan North as Deadpool would be great. He's the perfect voice for Deadpool. He'd be so good, and this would be another great thing to get people hyped for Deadpool, which is why Disney won't do it, because they don't want anyone to see that movie, because they want the rights back. But anyways, I think it would make a great movie, and I'd love to see it. Now, my number 1 pick is Old Man Logan. I love this book to death, and what happened in the book was the villains won. Now, I know you've probably heard that before in other alternate reality books, but how they won was pretty interesting, because what they did was they used common sense instead of like in other like alternate realities where like we'll exploit this or we'll exploit this. Instead, they used common sense. What they realized was there's like at least 10 or 15 of them per superhero, because every single superhero has their own rogues gallery of like at least 10 people. So if you count all that up, that's a ton more villains than heroes. So they're like, hey, why don't we all just team up? So they do. They end up beating everyone, and one of the things how they do this is really messed up. What happened was Mysterio messed with Wolverine's mind, made him think he was fighting bad guys. Wolverine ended up killing the entire X-Men. Yeah, it was pretty brutal when he thought he was fighting, off all these bad villains, but he killed his friends. So after that, becomes a pacifist, and he's like, no, never again. I'm never, ever going again to pop my claws. And so he gets a family, he settles down in Hulk's territory, because Hulk took over Abomination's territory, because Abomination took over California, then Hulk came, beat him up, and Hulk also kinda, banged with his cousin, and now there's a bunch of Hulk relatives running around. Yeah, you know, that happened and Hulk took over, so that way he could have other people he could trust in California to help him run his business. And so he takes over California. Old Man Logan settles in California with his family, and they're all pacifists and everything, but they can't make rent. So Hawkeye comes by, is like, hey, Wolverine. Hawkeye's blind, by the way, and he's super old. And so, well, he says, hey, Wolverine, you know what you should do? You should help me make this delivery. He's like, okay. Well, no, he's not like okay at first. He's a little hesitant, but then he goes because he needs the money to pay it off. So, long story short, they go throughout the country, taking down a lot of people, including like Hawkeye's own evil spider daughter. And so they go across, they meet Red Skull, who's like taken over Washington, D.C. and some other parts around there, and Wolverine ends up popping his claws because Hawkeye ends up getting killed. And even though throughout like the whole story, not till close to the very end does Wolverine pop his claws, like the whole time you're just waiting in anticipation, will he pop his claws, what's gonna happen? Also, Hawkeye's awesome in this book, he's really cool. And so then he finally pops his claws and everything. He like bashes Red Skull's skull in with Captain America's shield. Then he takes like an Iron Man suit and flies back to California, makes it just like it with like 2 days time into the rent, but he gets there and he finds his family is dead. The Hulks came and killed them, and so he goes on a rampage and kills all of the Hulks except for the one little baby Hulk, because he thought it'd be irony if he took that baby Hulk and just took it across to do like justice to bring back America, because when all the villains took over, they split up America. They're like, hey, you know, you take here, you take there, and you take here, and that's what they did. And so he's going to take it back, and that's where it ends. And then it's getting a sequel in Secret Wars. But yeah, how does that not sound like an awesome animated movie? I'd love to see it. And what would be even cooler if they did it was if they waited a little bit after Wolverine 3, and this could be Hugh Jackman's last hurrah, because, you know, Wolverine 3 is going to be Hugh Jackman's last time as Wolverine on the big screen. But imagine like a couple years later, we see Old Man Logan pop up, and it's Hugh Jackman playing the voice, because he has done voice acting for Wolverine before with the X-Men Origins Wolverine video game, and I think this would be a great last hurrah for him to do Old Man Logan, one of the best Wolverine storylines of all time, and it'd be the fully unleashed brutal Wolverine because it's animated, so they could do it, and that would just be so awesome. Everyone, it's a win-win situation. Everyone gets what they want, and that would be so cool. But yeah, those are just 5. Not necessarily my top 5, because I'll probably think of 5 after this. I was like, why didn't I put those in there? But yeah, those are 5 comics I'd love to see adapted into movies from Marvel. But yeah, please let me know in the comments below, what 5 comic books would you love to see adapted into animated movies from Marvel? And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like.
Sorry for the wait, I've been working hella hard. Time spent with friends is now time spent writing bars. So I lock myself away until I'm sad and just like yay, I'm shutting off, and so I'm dancing.